talking insurance right now with Rachael Nichols from Rogers and Gray down here on the South Shore. Thanks for stopping by, Rachael.
Thank you so much for having me back.
We always joke around that insurance is not the most glamorous topic, right? But
Right.
You do a fantastic job of making it interesting. And we actually had a recent call-in, and we were talking to a client here at Cross Country Mortgage, and a client was asking us about the difference between the big guys, the Arbellas, the Progressive, the State Farms that you see on TV, versus that local broker when you're driving down the street. What's the difference between those two different models?
Yeah, and another great question. You always come with great questions, and there are a lot of questions surrounding insurance, and I think that's a big one because there is the brand behind those big guys. It's one that you know, and there's some trust that can be said about that. On the other hand, they can ultimately provide you with a lot of the same coverages as the smaller guys or an independent agency like Rogers and Gray Insurance. But what they might not do is have the most keen interest or resources or time to really apply the right coverages for you and your lifestyle. Insurance really isn't one size fits all. So a smaller agency is much more apt to kind of get to know you as a person and see what coverage and insurance program best suits your lifestyle, and not the other way around.
And that's important. I think a lot of people don't realize that digging into somebody's life, what needs to be insured on your end, asking the right questions, can have a major impact on somebody's coverage.
Right.
Might not be the cheapest cost, but insurance is not about strictly price.
Right. And I think a lot of clients that do come to us are surprised. Oftentimes, not only can the smaller guys provide better coverage or just the necessary coverage for that individual, but as an independent agency, we can shop out over dozens of different carriers, see what Progressive has, see what Safety has to offer. Apples to apples, and a lot of times we can even provide better coverage at a better price. Not always, but we'll even be sure to tell you that. We're not afraid to tell you you're in a good place.
Which is huge for any resource or professional. That's what you're looking for, is professional advice. Somebody like yourself, especially in the greater Boston area, Rogers and Gray is a great resource. What about shopping online? Everything is going online, to the phone, to the tablet. Can you get an accurate quote just going online?
Accurate's the key word there. There are a lot of insurtech companies right now trying to perfect that algorithm, how to provide a quick, accurate quote. I think one day it might be there, and it's a great idea, especially in this fast-paced society. But right now, the technology really doesn't exist because when you go online, you're going to be asked a couple of quick questions. They don't know if you're about to buy a dog, and they might not care. They don't know if you're about to get married and how that might impact your insurance policy and what you are interested in protecting and what your exposures might look like a year from now. Having a conversation like that and somebody who can read in between the lines is a real human element that a computer generation really can't give you.
What if you have a trampoline in the backyard? Is that a big deal?
It is a big deal. It's a huge deal.
I bring that up because it's coming into Christmas time, and it came up from a family member to my wife and I that they were going to buy our kids a trampoline. That was a big no-no when you look into the cost. It might be, a gift, but the external cost, perfect example.
Yeah.
That might not be included in your online quote.
Right. So that's a great question. Actually, I just got it the other day. Trampolines are a big no-no for a lot of insurance carriers, but there are some that will accept them. It doesn't mean that your insurance is necessarily going to be more expensive. You just have to find the right insurance carrier that is willing and able to cover that risk. They need to have the right assets. So again, insurance is not one size fits all. So it's nice that we have options at Rogers and Gray. So there's a company right now that's new to Massachusetts called Swift, and they're a player that will accept trampolines. So if you run into that problem and you get a trampoline for Christmas, might be a good move for you.
Connect with Rogers and Gray at, connect with Rachael Nichols at rogersandgray.com. Shopping for homes, a lot of times people get caught up in the loan or the furniture, getting the inspection cleared up, and insurance often gets overlooked. What should somebody be prepared with from the buy side when they're shopping insurance? What information should you have in line?
That's a great question, because I think a lot of people don't really have a accurate indication of what their coverages were if they're coming from a current home or a residence that they had and they're moving. They really should have a couple of things prepared. Their existing home policy, if they've had one, their licenses, license number, dates of birth, information that a lot of clients will probably know right off the bat, the closing date, their mortgage and lender information, and the inspection details. After they've gotten inspection back from the new home, a lot of questions that insurance carriers pay attention to is, when was the roof last updated? When were the utilities last updated? That's very important and will impact the rate and things that we need to know right offhand. And we also like to have auto policies too, and we recommend to do that obviously for the convenience of the customer, having one agent to go to versus multiple different agents and different policies. But it also offers a really nice savings for a lot of carriers to bundle home and auto.
Yeah, so that's called an umbrella policy, right?
Yeah, well, an umbrella policy is something that will overreach all of your assets and coverages. So it actually, what an umbrella policy does is exactly what it sounds like, an umbrella over your existing liability coverages. So your home and your auto provide a little bit of liability protection. Not enough in today's society where everyone's very sue happy, as we know. Liability is very important. So an umbrella policy, especially for new homeowners, but really anybody who has an income should have an umbrella policy. But when you get an umbrella policy, that is going to be something that you can take with you anywhere in the world. It follows you. So if you're playing a pickup game of hockey in your men's league, and you elbow somebody, of course by accident.
Never do that.
Never do it on purpose. Then you would have protection in case that gentleman tried to sue you. Umbrella policies will also protect parents if they have little kids. They're unpredictable, dogs, even more reason to get that extra buffer of liability coverage.
Okay, so when somebody is shopping for insurance for a home, these are topics that you should be bringing up because it might ultimately help your bottom line. Even something like rings, wedding rings, that plays into the picture as well. Yeah.
So if you have valuables, something that you can do on a homeowner's policy is schedule, or really what it is listing your valuables on your homeowner's policy for added coverage. Because your standard homeowner's policy will only provide minimal coverage for your valuables. For example, a jewelry is only covered for $1,000 total. Engagement rings on average are $5,700 today. So if that ring is stolen, you're only getting $1,000 for that ring. Obviously, nothing replaces the sentimentality of that ring. But if you schedule that, not only would you have coverage for the full value of the ring, but you'd also be covered if it just goes missing. If you're on the beach one day and you suddenly realize it's not on your finger anymore, you'd actually have coverage for that ring.
Okay, great information. There's a lot that goes into it. Like we said, you can look online, but you really got to connect with a professional and a company like Rogers and Gray and yourself. So thank you, Rachael, for stopping by. And if you'd like to learn more about any of your insurance needs, what you should be looking into, you can connect with Rachael and the team over at Rogers and Gray at rogersgray.com. And remember, we have more real estate and financial tips just like this one right here on boston.com.